All right. Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's feeling well. It is 6:32. It is February 11th. It is Tuesday. Good morning, my dogs. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com and the founder of Red Dog Mindset. Here we go again. All right. Futures are down, what, about 20 handles after yesterday's gap up. The market's definitely trying to make people a little bit offsides, whichever which way. If you came in yesterday, a little flat-footed with the futures up 30 handles, or short because the last couple of Mondays it made sense to be short, especially after the candle that we saw on Friday. Yesterday they didn't give you much of a way out of your shorts, and if you bought a few things, now you're down a little bit. But I think it's all right. I think that this open is actually a little healthier. We're still packing and filling. We still have this upper range. If you look here, here's the chart of the spies. You have this nice upper wedge where we're in this pattern of somewhat indecision because it's really hard to tell what's next here. We're up a few percent of the year. It seems like a very stock-specific tape. You have the haves, the have-nots. You have names that just continue to trend, and then you have names that are in the penalty box and broken, and then there are names that don't make any sense. But that's what trading is: figuring out where on your go-to list your setups are. I have a go-to list of like 40 names, and sometimes things are on the A list, sometimes they're on the B list, sometimes they're on the C list. And you can go from the C list to the A list if all of a sudden you're trading better and it's paying you to be involved. And you can go from the A list to the D list, kind of like what Tesla's done in the past 2 weeks. But it's up to you as traders to recognize those signals for when things change. So this way, you could approach it a little bit less and lose less, or find out where the action is and start to get involved in active sequence earlier than everyone else and make some really good money. So if you look here at the chart of the spies, right now the spies are down a little bit, right? The spies are down $1.75. Not the end of the world. Yesterday put a nice inside candle in here. Right now we're down at 603.04. I think you could probably buy some spies to go green today. Powell is on the hill. Okay, so you would need to be a little careful that he doesn't sound too hawkish right now. The Fed expectations went from like 48 basis points worth of cuts to 37. So a little bit more hawkish since the jobs report and some of the better data. This low here is what? This is 602.74. So, if we hold 602.74 and go sideways, we're still building this upper wedge, and we got to figure out, will there be enough juice to take it out, or not? Qs look very similar. The Qs hanging here real tight. You did get this bearish candle again on Friday, but then, nothing happened. You could actually even make this a little bit tighter. If we could hold in this upper third area of this range, hey, maybe it takes it out. So you don't want to be too bearish, but you also don't want to fall asleep behind the wheel here. As far as like what I said, people like Red Dog, you haven't traded Tesla in a few days. Are you okay? I'm like, of course I'm okay. I'm a trader. This is what I do. I move along. When the market changes, when sequences change, you get out of the way. And this was a great sequence. I think we were long Tesla from this gap versus that gap. And then what did it do? It rode the 8-day all the way up. When it got extended, it came back to it. Extended, came back to it. Then finally had this Red Dog reversal sell. You had a lower high. And then right around the 20th, started getting a little weird. That inauguration day with Elon and a little bit of the banter back and forth. And PS, wound up closing on the dead lows yesterday. I didn't even trade, below the moving averages. I always tell you when Elon's above the 8-21 day, he's a genius. When he's below, he's a little eccentric. You have to be careful. Right now, Tesla's only down 80 cents. To me, maybe this is maybe get a little bit of a viable move. Hold on a second. Let me just see something. Anyway, so you have to make sure you're kind of moving around when it's time to move around. And Tesla, it's been time to move around. But we'll see what happens today. So this is yesterday's low. This is 350.51. Here's your 100-day. So it's it could be close to some kind of bounce for a trade though, because it's that extended from the 8-day. So maybe it travels back to it. But just like this went from the A list to the C plus list, Baba went from the C list to the A list. When did Baba go do that? Well, I told you guys right around here, we put it on as a power plays. Right around here is when the DeepSeek news started happening, and we were reading articles about how Baba's margins are going to get better if they have a less of an AI spend and they have a product even better. And PS, look at this move. What a fantastic move. I'm a lot smaller because I've rolled it up. So right now, with it being down a little bit, I would continue to roll it out. This is 111.65. So here is, this is yesterday's highs. So I would say, hey, do we hold this spot? What I'll do into this pullback is I'm going to continue to roll my options higher. I started with the $95 calls here, sold them into that move up, and then on this pull down, I bought the 105s, sold some into that. And on this pullback, I bought some 115s, and it's been working well. And I'm pretty light, so I'm excited. I haven't traded Bob in a bunch of years. Bob has been horrible. You go to the weekly chart of Baba, and it was like it was a full-fledged void for so long. And at this point, coming back up to this area, it's still just in this lower channel. I love Dave Tepper, and I've been, I just think he's got, I've been talking about for like 6 months. I think you should be buying the FXI. That you'll probably make more in the FXI if you buy monthly than in the S&P in the next year. But anyway, if you want to trade stocks, I do think that just because we're down today doesn't mean Bob is over. It's down 282 after a huge move. So, but again, you need to know your timing. As far as the lag 7, did I say that? No, I mean the mag 7. All these charts are not created equal. You have some names that have holes in them from earnings. Okay, think about what stocks gap down and couldn't find a friend. Microsoft gap down, has a big hole in it. Google gap down, has a big hole in it. What else? Gap down has a big hole in it. Apple hasn't been great. As I said, Tesla kind of changed. Amazon's interesting. Amazon didn't really get much downside. So, maybe you could look at Amazon today to see how it performs. Amazon, still has a gap. Actually, it's has a gap right here. The question is, does it hold below or fill that? So Amazon is acting okay. Obviously Netflix has been fantastic. Netflix, big winner for my power plays. I have a power plays product where, I basically, do my 40 charts, but instead of you having to go through the 40 charts, we kind of just tell you what to do. Buy this, verse that, and you might not have the time to put towards, figuring out, what plan is going to work itself out like most people in the alpha team does, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, this has been awesome. Meta's been awesome, but it's kind of doing it on its own. Meta, both of these came out with good numbers. So a lot of people ask me, Red Dog, what do we do with Dash? Dash has been unbelievable. Dash has been your baby. I've been making great money in Dash, buying dips, since August 5th and September 11th. Dash has been, a new name for me, and it's been awesome. Okay, awesome. Starting right here, this candle. I actually remember when we had that volatility came in, and it was the first one to go green and have a big move. Well, it's had a great sequence all the way up to 199, and now look at that candle. I like when they shake it up a little bit by earnings. So again, I've showed you the weekly chart. I have not done well. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to be like the guy on Twitter that says I've been killing it in options for earnings, because I haven't. I've made really good money pre-print on Google, and then it missed. Made money pre-print on AMD, and then it wasn't great. So there was a bunch of them. So anyway, what I'm probably going to do, just because earnings are after the close, and I do not take stock into earnings, it's one of my cardinal rules. I will take some kind of options. 225 is right here. It's kind of in no man's land. What I'm probably going to do is take a call spread, just because I feel like I have to. Stock's been so good to me, and I'm going to stay with this. Here's your momentum pivot. In order to get to 205 or 210, it's got to get above 199.17. Just came into the 8-day. I'm probably going to do, for not this Friday, for next Friday, maybe a 200 by 210 call spread, or maybe a 205 by 220. The 205 by 220, I think, costs $3 to make 12. So if you buy 10 of them, you risk $3,000 to make 12 grand. If it has a big move, that's something. Or if you buy 20 of them, or you buy 30 of them, you could do the math. But again, risk is premium paid. If last time earnings came out, it had too big of a move, it didn't do much, and we lost on our options or broke even-ish, and then you had to just reapproach the stock, which is good because you could do that too. But anyway, Dash is coming out after the close. This is your momentum pivot. I'm going to have to figure out, what I want to do here. And And so do you. You always have to figure out what you want to do. Let me say hello to some of my dogs. 30 comments already this morning. All right, let's see what everybody's saying. You could be on YouTube. You could be on Twitter, to interact. Fade the open, buy the gap down. I just bought a little SPY. I bought a little SPYs. I don't like to buy too much too early. Laura says, good morning. We're saying miners should catch up today. Yeah, gold's been on a tear. I'll tell you, I talk about asset allocation. People who've been putting money in gold. My brother, he's been hoarding gold and going to silver auctions for like 5 years. He's killing it. He likes to brag. If you're watching, Lance, bragging is never great. Good move in K-Web. Yeah, I could see that. PDD down a bit this morning. Mike's asking, I bought PDD pretty well yesterday, and I sold a third, so maybe I'll buy a third of that back. It's for earnings for next week. The stock was a little extended anyway. Tesla, falling knife, a strong buy. I've been out of the way pretty much for 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Tesla started to get a little predatory. I started to lose a little bit more than I needed to. So it moved from the A list to the C list. I miss Jose in the Alpha team. He was a great bio guy. Powell testimony, be careful. Yeah, Powell is on the hill today, so there might be some sound bites about inflation and whatnot. Watch the TLTs. The TLTs should tell you a little bit. What up? It's always rising and grinding. RKLB. So a lot of these spacey type of charts, and like RKLB looks really good, to be honest. Like, look at this chart. We started playing this around 11, hit a high of like 27, rebuilt, and now kind of looks like it's ready to go again. So what's RKLB doing today? RKLB, it's down a little bit after a day one type of move. So, these stocks have been doing very well. RKLB looks pretty good. You know what else looks pretty good? Well, I would wait a little bit. My goodness, this ASTS. Wow. We caught a lot of this move. This is like a good example of like, don't get worn out with a name. If it doesn't do what you want it to do when you want it to do it, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It means that it's a range trade and it's going to resolve when it wants to resolve, whether it's with you or without you. So I remember this one little false move right here before that. Kind of got me off balance. But anyway, with that being said, what a move. Hopefully you made some money there. I know a lot of people have made some really good money here. I kind of screwed that trade up. I bought this Lunar yesterday. I've been in this for a while also. There's supposed to be a catalyst or two catalysts happening in the end of February, beginning of March. You did get a bit of a green day yesterday. So I did buy some, which is kind of part of that sector. AppLovin, APP. This has been a really strong name. This has been one of the leaders of the past 2 years. Big gap up. I don't know if it's going to have enough in its earnings. It's February 12th. It's one of those things where it's going to really have to be a rock star to go. But ultimately, this and like Palantir have names. There are some names that have changed investors' lives and changed some traders' lives, depending on, if they found the sequence, went with it, massaged it, used a tier system, did all the things you need to do mentally to stay with it. I've had some huge winners here for you guys at the 630 Club. Some of you guys are saying, hey, Red Dog, what's that subscribe button? Why do you have that on your public Twitter? Well, that is the version of the outside of the X's and O's. That's where, I just did a 20 to 520 in my sauna, did a nice little workout with everyone tuning in, where I frame my day. I think about my positions. I look at what's happening overseas. I talk about all the if this, then that, while our minds are elevated. It's also going to be for the weekends when we're feeding the brain, when we're training, we're doing our push-ups. I just fasted. I'm still in the middle of my 36-hour fast. So, the subscribe button is for those of you who've been benefiting from the 630 Club and feel like you could even get more benefits by having your mind right and approaching your day with a little bit more of a methodical plan, feeling good. You should subscribe. It's not even a cup of coffee, not a day, a week. It's a very, very low barrier entry where you could basically be with me, as much as possible, because I'm going to have to start isolating, just the X's and the O's from the mindset portion. Someone's asking me, what do I think about PL? PL's been great. PL I had also, when a sequence starts, I bought PL in here, made really good money. I think I got out of it on this day. I didn't go back to it, but this has been working well. This has been a nice trend. It's above the 8-day moving average. I've given you guys so many different techniques on how to play a stock that is above the 8-day moving average. That's been great. So if you've been with that, great. ARBE is taking its time, but it's perking up. Robotics. I've been in it for a while. I've been trading around the buying dips. I still think you could buy this. I think it, this is an Israeli company. I feel like it could be a lot higher than $5 in the next 6 months. Do your own research, but technically looks pretty good. I have that. Thoughts on WDC? No one's asked me about WDC in a while. Western Digital. It's a nice candle yesterday. Good job. I like that. Bring this. I love it day one. What's Western Digital doing today? Western Digital is it's down 49 cents. So sometimes people say, how do you use your day count rules? Well, you get a day one that wakes up, you buy it. Sometimes you get a day two where it's up and you just trim some. Sometimes you get it's down a little bit. So usually you buy a little bit and then it goes green, takes out the prior day's high, and you can make a lot more. If there's follow through to a day one by a down day two. So if Western Digital opens down 50 cents, and just say you took 1,000 shares of Western Digital home, and now that it's down 50 cents, it's a little bit of a lesson. It's a red dog lesson at the 630 Club. You buy a little bit down 50 cents. Okay, it's 68.55 or so. Now you go to 1,500 shares. It trades through day one high. In order to get to a day two, in order to get to 70, it's got to get through here. You buy a little bit, then all of a sudden works its way up on a day two. You sell what you bought in the hole. You sell what you bought through the prior day's high, and then you stick with what you had for the continuation, if there is continuation. So, day one sometime leading to day twos or day threes, and that's how a new active sequence starts. But anyway, not a bad looking candle. I like it. Uber's been awesome. Uber, Ackman put a big stake in it. Like here, you had a day one, okay, that led right into a day two. So you probably trimmed instead of added. Now you filled this gap. Uber tends to like to do well when Tesla's kind of on the defense. So anyway, this is a little extended here, though. I'd give this a break. Adobe also looking ready to pop, Orlando says. Let's see, Adobe. Well, that's a nice day one, too. So from a lower level, day one, almost looks like a nice little inverted head and shoulders pattern. Like here's your left shoulder, here's your head, this is your right shoulder. Nice candle yesterday. What's it doing this morning, Adobe? It's down 6 cents. It's been beat up. Yeah, so these are lower level trades. So sometimes these lower level trades start a new active sequence. Sometimes they don't. Some people are like, hey, Red Dog, why'd you buy GME yesterday? GME gave a day one also. GME, I trade this every now and then. I rarely don't go with the stock. I just go with some options. We haven't had a real big moves in a while. They've raised money so many different ways, and they have like no business. So the word is that they are going to do a micro strategy sailor approach where they're going to start buying Bitcoin and this and that. And I know it doesn't have the same effect right now because some of the miners are bad, but you get a day one like this, maybe sometimes it goes. There's still a big short interest there. I bought options, and I bought options well yesterday, so I made some decent money yesterday. And now, typically if nothing comes out, some shorts come in. So if they come out and say, hey, they're doing something with Bitcoin in the same fashion as a micro strategy, the stock's been battered, so maybe there's a trade there. Again, it's a trade in the life. So today maybe it goes red to green, gives you a push. But I haven't traded this thing in a long time. I haven't traded this thing since really November 8th. That's the beauty of a trader. You could love and leave things. You don't have to marry a stock that's not acting well. You don't have to marry a stock that you're making money with. I only like to hold special names. And recently it's been hard to hold special names because, of all the tape bombs and whatnot. But anyway, I do appreciate all of you. And thanks to some of you who have joined the Red Dog Mindset, which starts with a 28-5-20, besides a ton of other things. We also have whiteboard weekends where we're going over different types of ways to get mentally tougher, different ways we go about our routine and our process. And we're also going to work on a Master the Mind class. And all of this just for $10 a month. Got to just hit the subscribe button, besides the X's and O's. So if you've been enjoying the 630 Club for 5 years or so, I would think, getting the mind right in order to execute and make more money would be something that you should think about. So with that being said, Nvidia, I sold my Nvidia yesterday. Nvidia had a really big move. Nvidia was awesome. Nvidia has been range bound. Nvidia hasn't led. We started looking at Nvidia right around here when it reclaimed at 116. Then if you remember that month, last week, the futures were down 20, 30 handles, up 75 cents. I was with you guys in the 630 club. I'm like, I'm buying more Nvidia here. First day of relative strength in a while. And now, boom, kind of filled a portion of this gap, went to 135. Where's Nvidia this morning? Down $1.28. Not so bad. You might maybe get a red to green trade here. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. Typically, if you're active, you want to get lighter, on day 6 up. So this could be a decent little opportunity, down $1.25 if it wants to go from red to green. So, but just again, it's had a big move, so you want to be more careful. I had options coming into yesterday, so it was a good day for me. Nvidia's been working pretty well. So with that being said, keep moving those feet. Keep figuring out how to make money. Keep your process strong. Okay. The only way you're going to be prepared for the day is if you get up early, you frame your mind, you get your multiple plans, and you get situated. So when things trigger and it's time for go time, you execute with confidence, and that's how you make money. You can't just make money by, waking up at 9 o'clock, putting 2-3 little strategies up there. Like I'm up at 4:45, and if I'm not up at 4:45, and if my process is off, I have to take a few steps back. But when I'm ready to go, and I have all my situated, I have 6 different monitors going, and I'm watching the futures, and I'm looking at the news, and I know what's happening with Powell, and I know this and that. Boom, you can execute with confidence, and that's how you make some money. Anyway, my dogs, have a great day. Happy Tuesday.